Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/get-started. That's GREENLIGHT.com/get-started.
Like the Rocket flashback stuff was sad, but the movie made no sense.
Thank you. I feel like a crazy person. Everybody was raving about it.
Also, how many more super teams do we have to break up?
Exactly. Right. I'm waiting on fucking Moon Knight at this point.
Cecil, Noah, finally, you're here. Okay, we need to make an alliance, like right now.
No.
Listen, Tom is going to vote himself into safety at the Puma tonight. And if you guys aren't on board, he's going to have a weekly skip 2 weeks in a row.
Eli, what the hell are you talking about?
When Noah said that he didn't know what Eli was talking about, that's when I knew I was going to get away with this scot-free.
Tom, who are you talking to?
And what the hell was that noise?
Oh, that?
Yeah, no, that.
Yeah, it's the drama noise.
Okay, first of all, it's called a bowed symbol. And second, I know what this is.
You do? Damn it.
Yes, Eli's essay this week is on terrible reality TV shows. So they're doing like a reality TV show thing.
Oh, got it.
So are you guys in on this truce or not? I need to know like right away.
Is the Wool Dasher Mizzle in?
Nah, he got voted out last week for making Heath forget numbers.
Right. Got it.
This is my least favorite place we've ever been, and sometimes we die in these.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
We do.
Hello and welcome to Citation Needed, the podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts, because this is the internet, and that's how it works now. I'm Noah Illusions, and in the classic reality show style, I'll be almost entirely superfluous as a host, but the real stars are going to be my panels of judges, a survivor, America's Top Chef, and the biggest loser, Tom, Cecil, and Eli.
Survivor. Well, Heath, you thought that I'd be stressed without you, but I'm chilling.
What? You got him.
You got him. You didn't think
That's
I'd be
it.
bringing
Just
out
the one
Destiny's
joke.
Child? Is that?
I can make a better fucking grilled cheese than Gordon Ramsay. He burns the fucking grilled cheese, man. So bad.
Has
So
been
bad.
laid down.
And Noah usually introduces me that way to new people. It just works this way.
Biggest loser. Yikes.
And before we get started, I want to take a second to thank our patrons. Listeners, if more of you were patrons of the show, we wouldn't have had to supplement our income by renting Heath out to Indonesian cage fighting syndicates. We still would have done that, but we wouldn't have had to, right? It would have been
He's
by
the ref.
choice.
He's got such long arms, he can separate those guys and they can't swing.
Separates
They
them from
can't
home.
swing at all.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you'd like to learn how to join their ranks, be sure to stick around to the end of the show. And with that out of the way, tell us, Cecil, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event will we be talking about today?
Terrible reality television shows.
All right, Eli, you've dubbed your subjects terrible reality television shows, as though there's some other kind of reality television shows. Are you ready to show us the worst of the worst?
It was this or Gamergate, no illusions.
Okay, you know what? Fair enough.
Yeah.
So before we begin, I want to thank TikToker Joey Engelman, whose weird TV shows playlist was the inspiration and, not going to lie, a lot of the content for this episode. So thank you to Joey.
You couldn't even bother to Google your own bad reality TV.
Oh, at least I'm here, Mr. 2-week vacation.
I got
all right?
fired.
Not from here, you didn't.
I will. I will wear you like a hat, Eli Bosnick.
All right, let's begin with a show sure to make Heath regret missing the episode. 2016's Dogs Might Fly. This 6-part series documented a nationwide search to find an extraordinary rescue dog that could be taught to fly an airplane.
What?
12 dogs from British rescue shelters were selected based on their personalities and potential. After 10 weeks of training, 3 of the highest performing canines were selected to go on to flight school. And then at last, one pooch was given the challenge of flying an airplane.
I love the confidence in that title. Dogs Might Fly, followed by perhaps America's Next Top Model.
Well, obviously they should have recruited Air Bud. It's right there in the name.
Right? It's right there.
Obviously. Now, to be fair, each of the dogs did have a trainer there to give them commands, and those trainers were licensed pilots in case something went wrong. But the trainers ended up interfering surprisingly little, and the winning pooch really did fly a plane for like a long time. Like, I really recommend you watch the clip. He flies the plane by himself for a while. Also, as I said, this show premiered in 2016, so this isn't anywhere close to the dumbest thing we put an animal in charge of that year.
No, that's fair. That's fair. And I will save you, the Google listeners, no, they did not put the dog in a World War I style leather helmet with the goggles like Snoopy. So it's hard to say these producers were even trying, really.
Okay, well, next you're going to tell me they didn't give them like little yellow birds named Woodstock as their wingmen either. Do you want to lose to the Red Baron? Because this is how we lose to the Red Baron, people. I'm very old. That's a very old reference.
I was also referencing that, Tom. Yeah.
Now, a lot of people wonder where the current reality TV craze came from. You know, in case they ever get to make 2 trips in a time machine and baby Hitler is relatively easy to kill.
He's easy to kill, I'm sure.
While a lot of people would say like Real World or Big Brother because of chronology, I would say spiritually, the origin of it all was American Idol.
Yeah, but you're wrong as just a matter of historical record, because that came out in 2000. Real World had been out 10 years, and spirits don't exist. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Fair? Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. So this alleged singing competition was supposed to find some low-luck nobody and bring them to superstardom. But what producers soon realized is that audiences tuned in for the losers. Terrible singers like William Hung broke television records while finales slumped with each growing season. So it was inevitable that the demons that make our TV would attempt a show of nothing but losers. God. Enter 2004's Superstar USA, a show that, without telling them, passed along bad singers to the next round while eliminating the talented.
Wow.
So, country music.
Okay.
I like that in Eli's world eventually is 2 years later. That is how long it took.
Yeah, it
2
didn't
years.
take long.
That's very long in TV time. Very long, Tom. Very long. Now, like American Idol, Superstar USA had a live finale in front of a live studio audience who were, of course, aware of the show's
Jesus
premise.
Christ.
So, how did the producers keep the audience from ruining the surprise? Let's go to Wikipedia, because otherwise there's no fucking way you will believe what I am about to say. Quote, one producer, worried that the live audience members would be unable to respectfully compose themselves during the final performances, falsely informed them that the singers were all terminally ill young people who were having a wish fulfilled by a charitable organization.
This is a lot right now.
Wow.
The Los Angeles Times reported that the said organization as the Make-A-Wish Foundation, which later received an apology from the WB. In an interview with USA Today, executive producer Mike Fleiss straightened out the details. Quote, first of all, it was me, but I did not say Make-A-Wish. I said, who's heard of the One Wish Foundation? And people raised their hands. There is no One Wish Foundation. It was a prank on top of a prank. It was the only way to get it to work.
Oh, it was the
real quote.
Make-A-Wish Foundation. Jesus Christ. I will say, though, my kingdom for Eli to have been in that audience, that would not have worked on him.
Nope.
Exactly.
100% chance that if I'd been in that audience, I would be being consoled with 2-armed hugs while I silently sobbed with laughter.
100%. Yeah, exactly. So in the end, when the winner, Jamie, was crowned to the Biggest Loser, she took it pretty well. Though it probably didn't hurt that they gave her $50,000 in prize money and then another $50,000 to produce her record and prove them wrong. She never made that record, but she did keep the money.
I like that the second worst person got nothing except knowing that they suck real bad.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, okay, but Cecil, the first guy who got eliminated, he had a real good day when he found out. Like, a lot of emotions.
Right?
I'm just a lot of emotions.
Sure. A lot of ups and downs. You can't talk about reality TV without its subgenre, love-sploitation. Shows like The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, The Bachelor in Paradise, The Golden Bachelor, and Go Ahead and Destroy Us Aliens. We all very obviously deserve it. Come to mind.
Is Golden Bachelor a lot of pee stuff? I didn't think they showed that on television.
Cecil, it sure is. And you
They
might
all
think-
are.
I get
Yeah,
it. But
yeah,
you're
yeah.
right, Noah.
After a certain
You're right.
age, whether you want to or not, it's all on.
It's all pee stuff. You might think the weirdest show in that genre would be something like Flavor of Love, where contestants vied for the heart of Flavor Flav and someone shat on the floor in the first episode of the first season. Or Joe Millionaire, where
What?
contestants tried to charm a millionaire who was secretly broke. But I'm going to give it to I Want to Marry Harry, a dating show where contestants vied for the heart of a guy that producers told them was Prince Harry.
I want to point out that this would have been less embarrassing for the royal family than the actual story of how his nuptials
Oh,
played
shit.
out. But
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Also, a lookalike of Prince Harry is just a spare.
Oh, nice.
Mhm.
Well done.
Now, I should point out that the producers of the show claim that they never told the contestants that their lookalike was Prince Harry. They just provided him with a security detail, dressed him like Prince Harry, and held most of the contest in various castles around Britain. Oh, and the lookalike absolutely told at least one of the women on camera that he was Prince Harry. They also hired a fake therapist for the contestants who told them that if they were having doubts, they were being paranoid and hurting their chances.
What? What?
And if that didn't work, they just like flooded their suites with gaslight. So
Yeah, there you go.
I feel like this producer and the guy that gave enough acid to an elephant to kill it should get together and brainstorm something.
Yeah,
Whatever it
exactly.
is.
I feel like that would be extremely dangerous, Cecil.
Yeah.
Similar mindset. So the show was canceled after 4 episodes, but its winner insisted that there were no hard feelings and that she was still in touch with the lookalike 9 months after the show aired.
It also helped that they gave her a bunch of money.
Yup, gave her a bunch of money.
Yep.
One more love-sploitation show before we move on. 2000's Who Wants to Marry a Multimillionaire? In Who Wants to Marry a Multimillionaire, 50 women competed to be the bride of an unknown millionaire seen only in shadow throughout the contest. Like the banker from Deal or No Deal, but he's gonna fuck you.
Right. Yeah.
Right. When it was down to 5 contestants, the multimillionaire revealed himself to be motivational speaker Rick Rockwell, who I have pasted a picture of in our notes and who you, podcast listener, should absolutely Google with the safe search on if you know what's good for you.
Oh Lord.
He looks like Henry Rollins overcommitting to a Bela Lugosi impersonation, right?
Yeah.
Actually.
Exactly.
really is.
But
I'm going to
the
fuck and
surprises
Coulter.
just But the surprises just kept coming. When Rockwell revealed himself rather than the rest of the show, he just picked a lady. No questions, no
What?
dates. He just
What?
went, you. And then they got married on
What?
stage, and that was the end of the show.
it's like Mr. Bird's picking the cow he's gonna eat. I'll take this lively young lady right here.
Mhm.
Yeah, see, it's a little
Yikes.
weird that they herded her through the chute towards him, though. That's just like a little on the nose, you know?
He's holding that thing that guy from No Country from Old Men is holding. The fuck-
Mhm. Yeah. But the hits kept coming. See, Rockwell had claimed to producers to be a successful real estate broker and motivational speaker.
What?
But when investigators looked
What?
into it, the only house he seemed to own was his
Oh,
own.
God.
And none of the companies he claimed to have worked for had ever heard of him.
Okay, so they're sitting around there going like, okay, guys, hear me out now. What if we, like on this new show, what if we just lied to ourselves?
The couple divorced a few days after marriage. Rick started a stand-up career, and the bride appeared on an episode of Celebrity Boxing.
Okay, yeah, look.
Oh,
I'm sorry. It is hard to feel like someone's been exploited when they keep raising their hands. You know?
Sure does, Tom. Sure does. Now, at this point, you're probably thinking to yourself, wow, Eli, dogs, people who can't sing, women looking for love, could reality TV punch any lower? And the answer is yes. Specifically, children, with a show called Boys and Girls Alone.
Oh,
a 4-part British miniseries featuring 20 children between 8 and 11 years old living without adults in a pair of villages, one for each sex.
They had this 40 years ago. It's called Gen X, Eli.
Yeah, it's the latchkey kids. Yeah. So when the trailer for the show premiered, which featured children fighting, smoking cigarettes, and killing a chicken with their bare hands, people were outraged and child services were called. Now, the show producers tried to explain that there were adults to step in if necessary and that they were giving the kids food and the ability to bathe. But child services was like, hey, that's great. Would you like to go to fucking jail? So changes were made before the final episode and the series was shortened.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think it's good that our childhood is illegal now. It just still feels weird, right?
Hey, listen, forgive my cynicism, Eli, but how does shortening the series help if the outrage had already occurred based on footage of shit that had happened? Like, does that mean the final episode was just full-on Lord of the Flies script at that point? Or?
Yeah. They actually used Lord of the Flies to describe the show in the trailer, so it's fitting. But Eli, you say, how can there be more to this episode? Haven't we already stooped to children? What's left? The unborn? Yes, joke I just made. That is where the Learning Channel's 2015 game show Labor Games comes in.
What?
Which gave couples in the delivery room, yes, no illusions, gave couples in the delivery room the chance to win cash and fabulous prizes for their baby, including a $10,000 college fund, while giving birth to them.
Yes. Yeah, I would watch this.
Yes.
This is great.
Sure. The show only ran 2 episodes, but the creator stands by it, saying on Twitter of the show, quote, "It's a cute show, and there are babies."
Well, yeah, but the gross, fresh out of the package ones, the raisin-looking ones.
Yeah, the Conehead ring toss game never really took off like I expected. You know?
Speaking of parenting, have you ever wanted your parenting to be called into question for the enumerated masses? Well, then you should start a podcast called Dear Old Dads. But if you don't think you could stomach the auto ads, you should appear on 2007's Honey, We're Killing the Kids.
Oh, yeah, no, that one got a local reboot during the pandemic. I remember that.
For sure. Honey, We're Killing the Kids is what's known as a family makeover show, like Nanny 911, House Swap, and Hoarders, where rich television producers go into the houses of poor people and they're like, hey, don't you know that being poor is bad for you? And then Cecil's family are like, are you going to use any of the resources you acquire from this show to help us? And the producers are like, nope, go fuck yourself, Oliver. That's the genre.
That's fine. That's what my dad's job in the government said too. So we're
exactly.
good.
Yeah. Anyways, Honey, We're Killing the Kids was that without all the decorum and the facts. The show would follow a family around for a week with a usual reality show flair. Dramatic moments, staged arguments, etc. But then it got fucking weird. See, at the end of the show, the parents we brought into a fucking danger room. You gotta Google this. It's like a danger room. It's all white, where their bad parenting choices were shown to them along with computer-enhanced pictures of their children reflecting the consequences into their futures. Now, the show was widely criticized for spreading untrue and harmful information about obesity and diet, telling one set of parents that letting their son drink juice would lead to baldness and obesity.
Okay, but Eli, there is a deep irony hearing this from the mango nectar guy.
Let's just say they're not directly, they didn't do my family. Another family was told that their 6-year-old daughter's bookish nature would lead to a lonely life and anemia.
What?
All while CGI bald spots and pimples were added onto these kids' pictures in mega
what
big
is
screens.
happening?
Is CGI anemia's added to their daughter?
Yes, literally yes.
Oh my God. So wait, they turned the fears that Eli falls asleep to into a TV show?
Yes, correct.
I can see why it was controversial. I can see why people didn't want to look at that.
Yeah. So I'm getting bummed out by my own essay, so let's switch to some lighter fare, where the only person to pity is the human condition. I'm talking, of course, about the 2010 television show Donald Trump Presents the Ultimate Merger, in which 12 men, tiny hand selected by Donald Trump, competed for the love of two-time Apprentice loser Omarosa.
And then we put him in charge of our country. That's just history book shit now. But that is what our generations will be remembered for forever.
And if we elect him again, forever will be a much shorter time than you probably imagined.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's an advantage. So the winner was R&B singer Ray Lavender. But before the two lovebirds could tie the knot at the Trump Hotel and Casino, like the show promised, it was revealed that Lavender was still married to another woman. And so Omarosa was left without love. So before you feel bad for Omarosa, she later revealed that she was engaged to Michael Clark Duncan while the show was filming. So, like I said, the person to root for on that show was a structured demolition of the building it took place in. So let's keep the good feels going with our next program, 2014's Utopia. With a budget of $50 million, the concept was simple. 15 men and women attempt to create society from scratch in a remote area.
So like Boys and Girls Alone, but nobody cared if they died.
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
Right. I was going to say, so Noah gets talked into going to a pagan commune on the promise of some really good shrooms again, but a TV show.
So
Sure,
Tom finally
sure.
stops squawking about it, walks into the woods naked with a knife in his teeth, but a TV show.
Yeah, yeah, all of those things, all of the above. And it's not just that. Though it was slated to be on TV 2 nights a week, they had 150 hidden cameras streaming 24/7 on the show's website. 3 people would be voted out of Utopia a month, and the internet would decide 3 new people to let in until its finale 1 year later. And the 2-part premiere starts great. There's fights, there's skinny dipping, there's a white guy who can't stop telling the black guy that he's a racist, like he's been diagnosed with it by a doctor. It's the best. But alas, the show lost almost half its audience by the second part because then they start working together. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been around people doing things, but it's boring as shit. Keep in mind, this show wasn't a contest, so there was no reason not to get along. So they just did. It's like that Russian guy with the manifesto had a point or something. Anyways, the show got canceled after just 3 episodes and remains the largest failure in reality television history.
Well, unless you count Tucker Carlson as reality television.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I think we all need to reflect on the fact that as pathetic as it is, we're still making fun of an entertainment category approximately 23 places ahead of podcasting on the prestige rankings. So we're going to take a quick break for some apropos of nothing.
And now, back to America's Next Top Podcaster.
Kyle, Greg, Nick, you're our top 3. One of you is just hours away from becoming America's Next Top Podcaster. Kyle, you excelled at our interview that cuts out halfway through challenge, but absolutely flopped when it came to apologizing for audio problems.
I put a new mic on my Patreon.
Indeed you did. Greg, you only managed to interview 4 white supremacists, but you sold the most CBD during our bullshit live read challenge.
Thank you, Chef.
You haven't released an episode in 5.5 years.
Any day now.
I see. Well, with all this said, you're all going to face our final challenge. We're all white guys. Is that a problem?
Well,
I feel like if they
here's the thing about
wanted to see
podcasting.
the show,
You know,
Silence! You all win. Podcasting has no bar to entry.
oh, awesome. What did we win?
$200 from stamps.com.
nice. Send my podcast out to people.
And we're back. When we last left off, things were starting to get a little testy between Eli and Tom. Well, Cecil was wondering if Eli would ever get to the point. Let's check back in and see how the essay's going.
Now, This might shock you to your very bones, but reality TV isn't quite as real as you imagine. Whether it's a producer throwing an ice cube at Snooki or Kyle and Deep D's hidden romance, reality TV is TV first, and reality a distant second. And perhaps no show better reminds us of this than Food Network's Mystery Diners.
Okay, just if I ever get Alzheimer's, I genuinely hope the first thing to go is recognizing the word Snooki.
Sure.
I want it gone.
Yeah.
I want it gone.
Yeah. When you go into like those jungle tribes where they have like no germ resistance, one of the rules is you're not allowed to tell them about Snooki too. That's one of the other ones. Yeah. So Mystery Diners started simply enough as yet another clone of the bar rescue kitchen nightmare drama. Restaurant's in trouble, TV network comes in with a bunch of cameras, unlikable host yells at people for not winning the unwinnable game of capitalism, cut and print. But Mystery Diners lasted for 11 seasons, and there are only so many failing bars named O'Malley's, so they got a bit creative.
My first thought is there's no way America ran out of shitty failing bars. But then I realized that they would need shitty failing bars that weren't filled with people that are too sad looking to put on TV.
Exactly,
And that
yeah.
seems like a far lower number.
Can't go to my hometown. Now, let me quote from the Wikipedia here about how creative they got. In season 9, episode 11, Stiles claimed, that's the host, claimed that the crew had a brand new technology called Stingray that could intercept text messages from a person's phone, and the technology was supposedly used in the episode. Using such technology to intercept someone's text messages without their permission would be considered a violation of a number of privacy laws and regulations, and it's unlikely the show would have done such a thing risking legal action. In the same episode, private investigator Elliot was depicted doing a stakeout of the property and catching one of the employees on camera cleaning up from a party. Elliot was shown holding a video camera that very clearly would have been noticed by the employee and was not hidden or disguised in any way.
Yeah, I don't know where any of this is headed, but since this is an Eli episode, I am now worried that camera is going to end up a toilet cam.
Got it. Okay. Let's get a little more extreme then. My favorite episode of Mystery Diners is episode 137 in season 9, when a local seafood house discovers their lobsters are missing. So in that episode, it turns out that a member of the staff is an undercover lobster activist.
Oh, yeah. Like you do. Yeah,
at
sure.
the local beach.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
The lobster
Crazy.
activist
Crawling.
only admits his crimes.
You can't swing a
after-
lobster without hitting a lobster activist.
Yeah, obviously. The lobster activist only admits his crimes after the Sting team disable his vehicle using a remote control car stopping device that they have.
So he was
And
really in a
everyone
pinch
else
at that
on
point,
staff.
huh?
Exactly, yeah. And everyone else on the staff is let off with a warning.
They were trying to tail him. Is that what happened? Then they go into the cooler and the animal rights activist is sewing all the pork chops back together in a terrifying Franken pig. Yeah, I saw that one too. Yeah.
The owner tries to stop him, but all the lobsters run in and kick his ass.
Exactly, yes. Speaking of reality TV being fake, have you heard the one about the time they faked a reality TV show just to torture a guy? Well, they did. Back in 2003, and it was called The Joe Schmo Show. So, the surreality show was allegedly a live in a big house and win $100,000 genre. And the concept was simple. Take a reality show douchebag, have actors, including a young Kristen Wiig, by the way, set up a bunch of wacky situations and then watch him be a total jerk. Except the guy they chose wasn't a reality TV douchebag. He was just a human being. And so when they voted off his best friend or stuck him in a love triangle with two girls in the house and the host, he just felt really sad and cried sometimes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And if we wanted to watch grown white men be sad, there's Fox News for that.
Or we could watch the people watching Fox News for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that works too.
So they pivoted the show, and the second half of it is about the guy having fun experiences, and with the exception of having a wee bit of paranoia and psychosis post-production that the show was still happening and he would never actually be free, everyone turned out fine. Everyone turned out fine. Plus, they gave him $100,000.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, and if you're wondering if we learned our lesson about large-scale gaslighting like that, no, we did not. A show with almost exactly the same premise called Jury Duty premiered last year, though admittedly with a lot less crying from its subject.
Oh, so it wasn't a reboot of the Pauly Shore movie. Got it. Last
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Now, I admit I've used the word torture a lot on this program because,
I actually used the word couture a couple of times.
Well, anyways, I've used some word that means torture to me, and I've used it because that's what it means. But I think the closest we ever got to shock your balls for money, a phrase I Googled just to make sure I wasn't overstating things, was the 2004 Shattered, which I gotta admit, I kind of love.
Oh, God.
I'll let Wikipedia explain the premise. Quote, 10 contestants were challenged with going without sleep for 7 days while their actions were constantly monitored.
No.
Over the 7 days, the 10 housemates had to endure daily performance testing and a variety of challenges. They were competing for a potential prize fund of $100,000, though at any point, if a contestant closed their eyes for 10 seconds, then £1,000 was deducted from the prize fund.
They should do this with senator salaries, man.
Yeah, no, so you've mentioned some bad ones. I'm pretty sure this is the first one that actively violates the Geneva Convention.
Right? It does. Yeah.
It literally does, yeah.
And yeah, that does just sound like watching people be tortured, but it was funny watching people be tortured. For instance, the show had a section called You Snooze, You Lose. Again, from Wikipedia. Every day, a contestant was chosen by their peers to endure an hour-long You Snooze, You Lose challenge, in which the chosen contestant was tasked with remaining awake through an experience intended to encourage them to fall asleep.
This is the worst.
These challenges included a facial treatment, cuddling a giant teddy bear, listening to a bedtime story, repeated throughout the hour, watching paint dry while seated in a warm chair, counting sheep on a television, and listening to a lecture on triangles that the contestants had already attended earlier in the week.
Or a citation needed episode about Joan Crawford. You know, whatever.
And you might be thinking to yourself, hey, Eli, wouldn't going 7 days without sleep induce psychosis? Yes, it does.
Sure does.
Contestant Chris believed himself to be the Prime Minister of Australia and also thought he was on the set for the popular Australian soap opera Neighbours.
Yeah. You know, it's all fun and games until somebody starts doing surgery on themselves to get the Beatles out. Jesus Christ.
Spoilers about that one, because contestant Jimmy became irrationally angry and violent when others refused to put on their Japanese armor and play with an imaginary ball that he thought he had. Claire, the eventual winner, began telling fabricated stories of when she was arm wrestling Irish boxer Joey Ruin. And then there was the finale. Again, quote, at 3:45 p.m. on the final day, the contestants were sent to bed. The last to fall asleep won, or alternatively, they would immediately lose the competition if they spoke, turned away from the camera, covered their faces, or closed their eyes for longer than 10 seconds. The show reported that Jonathan and Chris fell asleep within a quarter of a second of each other at 4:12 p.m., while Claire continued to stay awake until 6:10 p.m. At this point, she was informed by the camera crew to go to sleep, as there was concern she was not coping well with remaining awake due to displaying erratic head movements. But it turned out she actually just really needed to use the bathroom and was trying to signal the crew this by flicking her head towards the toilet, hoping that they would gather this, as she was worried that if she spoke, she'd be removed from the contest. She endured 178 hours of sleep deprivation. And last, and in my opinion least, Fox's 2004 show, The Swan. Each episode of The Swan followed two, quote, ugly ducklings who, over the course of a 3-month period, underwent an extreme physical makeover from a team that included personal trainers, dentists, and cosmetic surgeons.
Jesus.
Whichever woman was deemed more attractive at the end of the 3 months would move forward to compete in a live beauty pageant of the winners held at the end of the season. Whoever received the most votes for the greatest transformation would be given the title The Swan, as well as a modeling contract.
Okay, look. I get that this is an awful exploitation of people's insecurities, but free personal training and dental care? I'm not in.
And look, this show sucked in so many ways. Many previous contestants have come forward to say that they were not told nearly the extent of the cosmetic surgery that they were going to be given.
Surprise cosmetic
Dozens
surgery?
of dozens of cosmetic surgeries. Yes.
Jesus.
Others resented that their family and friends were coached by producers to say how ugly they were
Yikes.
in interviews before the episodes aired.
Fuck.
More importantly, viewers and contestants alike agreed that the show's shallowness incarnate, which comedian Josie Long suggested that the show be named The Bullies Were Right.
So if you had to summarize what you've learned in one sentence, Eli, what would it be?
If I were God, I wouldn't talk to us anymore either, Noah.
And are you ready for the quiz?
I'm not giving birth, but I'll do my best.
All right.
All right, Eli. Which reality show below is absolutely real and absolutely the worst one that you forgot to mention? A, Born in the Wild, a show where women give birth in a forest without medical supervision.
Wow.
B, Cheaters, where the host once got stabbed on TV by a guy they ambushed cheating on his girlfriend. C, The Pickup Artist, which followed, well, pickup artists rather than drowning them in a sack in a river. And D, The Anna Nicole Show, which was about Anna Nicole.
Okay, I'm going to go with B because I literally was about to do that one and then realized it might get its own episode. So I'm going to say Cheaters. Cheaters is the worst one that I
we're gonna
forgot
go
to mention.
whole
I don't
Cheaters
know, man.
episode?
Born in the Wild is pretty fucking
Wow.
insane, too. Yeah, sure, you're right or wrong. Whatever the show needs.
Yay, I win, lose.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know how this works.
All right. So, Eli, I want to ask the question on everyone's mind. Why is reality television? Is it because A, audiences really like it? B, it adds a non-zero value to the world? C, the viewers just demand more? Or D, writing is hard, network executives are cheap, and capitalism demands the proliferation of the lowest acceptable quality?
Mm, I think it's that audiences really like it. Don't people really like it?
No, I
it's the
feel like you
audience-
should,
No.
for the
No.
sake of the show, for the format, I think you have
Oh,
to go
sorry.
with
I just
D.
saw that you were the SES next week. I thought, never mind. It's the last one. It's the last one.
It is D, yes.
I
That is
just read the end of the
All right,
thing.
Eli. Which reality show sounds like it would star a horrible fascist? A, being Bobby Brown shirt. B, say yes to the SS. C, the most amazing race. Or
Oh,
D,
no. Oh,
The Apprentice.
I got to go with the most amazing race. Very obviously the reason for the season.
that's so good.
Absolutely true, I guess.
No,
I don't
just
know.
no. It was obviously it was D, the Apprentice.
Oh, it's Apprentice. Yeah, sure.
Well, you know what? Regardless, I think we're all realistic enough to admit that when Heath isn't here, Cecil, you have no real competition for this part of the show. Obviously, you are the winner.
Awesome. Well, I think Noah is going to write an essay next week.
All right. Well, for Tom, Eli, Cecil, and usually Heath, I'm Noah. Thank you for hanging out with us today. We're going to be back next week. By then, I'll be an expert on something else. Between now and then, you can hear Eli, Heath, and me talk about religion on The Scathing Atheist, politics on Skeptocrat, and things that make us mad on God-awful movies. Or you can listen to Tom and Cecil efficiently squeeze all of that into a one-stop shop on cognitive dissonance. And if you'd like to help keep this show going, you can make a per-episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod or leave us a 5-star review everywhere you can. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, check out past episodes, connect with us on social media, or check the show notes. Be sure to check out citationpod.com. And obviously, one of the most shocking moments of the season is where Carl the Pugapegacorn voted for you, Clip Clop Tom, to be in the Power Tower instead of him. Is there still bad blood there?
Clip clop.
Oh, whatever, man. It's a game. We're all here to win. Oh, you would have done it too. You would have done it too.
Can I give the ad money back?
Shh, I want to see what happens next.
Does he give it back to him, though?
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/get started. That's GREENLIGHT.com/get started.